Okay, so this is part 3 of what I initially thought was going to be a 2-part gameplay video. So, picking up where I left off, on Tamayashi, for the purposes of this demo, you will fast forward to a point in the story where all love interests are available. Okay. Please enjoy seeing this glimpse into events with each one. Let's see here. Here's a good place. Approximately 3 months later. Okay, so I'm going to do this systematically and just start at noon and work my way around and see where this goes. So let me save this. Dinner. So we led EC to the dinner, and the companions took a seat at a table. Shortly after, a waitress comes by to deliver 2 menus to them. You are aware that this unit does not function off biological intake, correct? So we have an android, okay? I more or less guessed as much from the fact you haven't eaten anything these past 3 months. Date location specified seems irrelevant to your purposes. Okay, part of your mission is to get closer to me, right? Wouldn't learning about my necessarily daily function be useful? Logical. Your survival does require sustenance to be maintained. I'm curious though. Your creators put a lot of effort to make you appear human enough to hide in plain sight. Is everything you know anatomically correct? Okay, not a question I would ask. In public, at least. And, okay. Yeah, just gonna move on from that one. Specifications of the unit's parameters should solely be discussed in private at one of our specified safely. Yeah, exactly. I mean, wow. Well, we're at a diner. Why not answer in regards to our current situation? Okay. So, asking if the pieces correspond in regards to dinner. I don't think that's what you meant to infer. Let me see where you take this. The robot becomes silent for a moment. Very well, my oral cavity is capable of intake and processing the information of various substances. As Easy spoke, the waitress returned to take their order and gave Suvi a look of disgust. I'll have the number 3. And for you, miss? Same. Okay, it'll be done in 10 minutes. Having taken their orders, the women left. The waitress seems to dislike you. Yeah, she probably heard him ask, like, do the parts match? It was just bad timing. Shall I continue my earlier response? Please, but try to be less suggestive. Understood. The technology within my mouth structure can sample and analyze any substance it comes in contact with. Wow. Okay. For example, it could check for poison in food if required. As I am not of flesh, I cannot be harmed by poison. Well, I don't think I'm in danger of being poisoned yet. New enemies will arrive. Some may attempt to harm by indirect means. When that time comes, I'll be happy to have you help me. Confirmation received. Poison testing activities will commence operation. Okay. As the waitress delivered the food to the table, EC reached over and grabbed a bite of food off Sugi's plate and put it in her mouth. There is no poison in this dish. Or at least not in that particular piece, anyway. Yeah, there we go. Okay. Alright. Well. So, as a sci-fi nerd, I am interested to see what you do with the whole artificial human robot android angle. So let's see, Scarface. Hospital. Okay. Suvi dialed a number on his phone. A moment later, a nearby phone began ringing. Ringtone, he approached the morgue. The ringing came from behind the door. Is this adapted from a setup for a horror movie somewhere? Sable? Oh, Suvi, pretty clever way to find me. Easy pointed me in the right direction, but obviously I had to do the rest of the footwork. Good boy. Were you worried about me, or the trouble I might cause? Well, I'm finding you in a morgue. I don't know how to answer that. Both? Neither? Yeah, there you go. Sure, I understand why you haven't been able to fully trust me. It's quite obvious that having a cannibal around is dangerous. Okay, well, that explains the morgue. You gave us a hard time at first, but that doesn't mean you don't have a place here. Okay. Still, as naive as ever, that's your charming point. Though, isn't it? You'd rather be betrayed than skip out offering a helping hand. Okay. Is that so bad? It is when countless creatures wish you dead. She's not wrong. I'm not going to say she's right. Are you just going to keep playing this game and not come out? Yeah, I think that was her plan. You aren't one to run away. Not really. But you won't like what you find, boy. I don't care, Sable. What happened? Sable opened the door and her bloodied form appeared before Suvi. Okay, apparently that does not explain the morgue. I told you, the hunger never really goes away. I ate that wizard. Blood. Who did you kill? Oh, relax. They were already dead, I think. Right, this is a morgue. Of course they were dead. I hope. How did you even find out about this place, though? The fairy stayed here for a while, didn't he? A place of healing will always end up having dead people. True. So you took a guess. Maybe, or I used this cell phone to look it up. Doesn't really matter, does it? Sable, why human bodies of all things? Because they're the most filling. Do you know how much food I have to eat if I didn't eat people meat? I'd eat right through your entire savings. Okay, that's an interesting point. Huh. Okay. So in the full game, I do kind of hope that gets explored a little bit more. Like, what are Sable's biological demands? Don't lie to me, Sable. There's something more to this, isn't there? Well, I guess I got bored as well. And you know how it is. When I get bored, I get hungry. I told you from the beginning, it's an endless cycle. You also said you would stop if I kept you fed. And when you have 7 other mouths to take care of, plus that big oaf, you lose track of things. You can't please all of us, and to try means when this all comes to an end, you may not be able to save any of us. So is it a case of they get destroyed with their world if their world goes poof? I know, but no buts or asses, Suvi. You gotta start making your decision now and focus on whoever you want to save. Like I already told you, though, my world doesn't need saving. They don't deserve it. Ignore me and deal with the others. Okay, so we have a self-sacrifice line here. You think I can? I'm giving you an out, a freebie. Take it before you spread yourself too thin. Maybe you're right, but even if I don't choose to help you, I'm still the reason you're here. I can't let you do as you please. If it were anyone else, you wouldn't care about letting them roam free. Because I'm a zombie, you think things will go badly. Well, you just acknowledged you eat human flesh, so what's your good interpretation of that? You've already eaten people from the morgue. Who hasn't? Most people, actually. Literally everyone else on this planet? Maybe. Really? Even if it's a low chance, there's got to be other people crazy enough to do it. Yeah, there probably are. Maybe, I don't know, but you have to come home. The zombie thought about it as she licked the blood off her lips. Sorry to say, but no. Sable, tell you what, you leave me here to finish what I started, visit a few times, and then I'll return. Like a few times today, a few times this week, a few times over the next 3 months. What are we talking about here? I'm pretty sure an employee will find you eventually, and this will become a big problem. You let me worry about that. Now, go before I get angry. Are you serious? Get going, boy. Don't make me repeat myself. Fine, but I will be back. Looking forward to it. Sable pushed Suvi out of the doorway and shut the morgue door behind him. Okay. So, not crazy about the little bit of character I got from that one, but it did touch on some interesting ideas that I'm hoping you'll explore in the full game. Okay, and here we'll go with Six-Eyed Raven, or whatever her name is. Going to a pool. Hello. The pool was vacant when Vikkel and Suvi walked out of the change rooms. Surely you jest. I'm not kidding. Submerging yourself in liquid that exists only to provide a base nutrient for life is insane. Are you saying your people don't swim? Of course not. Such an activity only benefits aquaneers and sea life. Aquaneer? What's that? I believe that is the proper term in your Earth words. It's a person whose job relates to water. The Grand Palace requires great reserves of water to be stored, and aquaneers are the ones who maintain them. So, like a technician or engineer? Wouldn't an engineer work with engines? It's not wrong. You sure have a weird understanding of our language. That's not quite what it means, no. Regardless, my point is this liquid is out in the open. Who knows what kind of weird things are floating about in it? Yes, that is a very valid point. Are you okay even being on Earth then? What if you catch some sickness? My people have previously visited this world. We aren't so different as to be genetically incompatible. Okay, that doesn't really answer the question, though. Microorganisms shouldn't be a concern then. There is a world of difference between that and willingly submerging oneself in such a disgusting body of water. I'll just take a dip alone then. Before Vicky could argue, Suvi dove into the pool. The splash caused her to take a few steps back. Are you insane? You're just in it now, and you almost got it on me. The boy began to swim around. You're afraid of a little water? Are you afraid of showers as well? I'll have you know that our automated body scrubbers purify any and all filth that dares to touch us. That just gives me this bizarre mental image of like stepping into a booth, having, 12 robotic arms all come out with, loofah brushes on them, and they just scrub off the top 2 layers of skin or something. And then they step into another room and they regrow a new layer or something. Now, this is just a guess, but you can't swim, can you? I mean, I'm pretty sure she just said she never had a reason to learn. At least that's what I got out of it. Expression answered Suvi's question, but she shook her head anyway. Of course I can. How insulting. I'll have you know I was the best swimmer among my sisters. After stating that submersing yourself in water is a disgusting sensation. Is this like her people's equivalent of Jello wrestling or something? Then prove it. Prove it. I have nothing to prove to you. Here we go. Return to the change room. Okay. So, kind of the same problem I have with Sable right now. Touch on some interesting ideas, but I'm not getting much of a sign of the character herself. No, I take that back. I got more of a sign of who Sable is as a character than I did Vickle. So, I can't make any comment on that one. I'm just gonna have to wait and see the finished game. Subi sat across from Spessarton? He glanced around the room, examining her chosen decor. You didn't really want much, did you? You inferior beings desire too much. I was sort of hoping you had changed your mind about us since you agreed to stay here. Don't misunderstand my intentions, Ydin Holder. If I could return home, I would. My name's Suvi. It doesn't matter. It sort of does, actually. 3 seasons remain before this comes to an end. That isn't much time at all. I've waited longer for lesser things. So you're just gonna sit here until a portal home opens? You came here to save your world, didn't you? If you can't go back until then, won't things get worse? You know nothing about my home. Well, I'd like to know more. That stone ship was extremely powerful. There are more of them, aren't there? That stone ship? There are always more, and if they show up again, I will turn them to dust. Okay. We certainly appreciate your willingness to help us. I'm not helping you. I'm defeating the enemy of my kind. Excuse me, there's a difference. I mean, fair. It's not an invalid point. The boy eyed her sword. Okay, what sword? Is that the only way you have of fighting them? We have other methods, but the one's been most successful. I see. Look, I know you don't trust us, and that's fine, but won't it be lonely if you lock yourself up in here? Your worry is pointless. This world is of little importance in regards to my goals. Yet you were sent here. It was only out of desperation. Once I return, I shall overcome the enemy and bring the war to an end. Okay, but that doesn't concern you. Alright, fine. But someday I will get you open up to me. I promise you that. Okay. So, a self-righteous individual who views being sent here as an annoyance that may or may not be connected to the Ydin. Okay. I have questions on this one. I want you out the full game to see what her situation is. Okay, cat girl. Shop. 2 companions walk down the street together. So, where are we headed? I'm not sure yet. You usually have a plan. Not this time. You said that long ago. This planet used to have no technology, right? Like 15,000 years ago, sure. That means sometime in your history you were also hunters. Do they still exist? I mean, hunters use technology because humans really kind of suck at the natural capabilities department. Yes, it's more for sport nowadays, but there are still people who take pride in going into the wilderness. Then there must be a place for them to obtain tools. Let's head there. I'm curious to see what the hunters of your world use. Okay. A hunting shop? Interesting idea. Not sure if any of them would measure up to your standards, though. Don't worry about that. Less thinking, more doing. Okay. So, are cat girls like a common thing in this world? Because I feel like the tail would kind of get attention. Alright, there's one fairly nearby. The beast girl tilted her head. Ooh, excuse me. The beast girl tilted her head as she stood before the gun case. What are these? Guns. They're similar to what Easy uses. Hers looks a lot more powerful. Because they are. These are just hunting rifles. I don't understand. Well, humans can't compete with the natural talents of animals, whether it's in strength or speed. So hunters take one of these, find a good spot to hunker down, and wait. Oh, I see. Then your prey comes to you eventually. A hunting style that focuses on surprise attacks. I highly doubt this kind of weapon would be useful to you. And you're right, husband. Husband. Vernacular shift, or did something happen in the intervening 3 months? Hunting is about making the first move before your prey runs. But with this sort of weapon, you get only one opportunity. 2 at most. Letting your prey escape could mean death where I come from. Being able to track them down if they get spooked is important. Well, I've never gone hunting myself, so my knowledge is lacking. Your world shares a lot of information through your phones and whatnot. It's not like you can't learn. Just having the ability to look up techniques for anything is quite admirable. True. You think so? Yes, having been born into such a system, you may not see it. But from my point of view, it's quite magical. Huh. Yeah, I really don't think of it that way. Don't worry, I'll make a hunter of you yet. Ew, that guy's a little creepy. Okay. Alright, Petulia. In the park. Arriving at the park, Suvi checked the swing set and Petulia followed him. Looks like they finally finished the repairs. Well, Estella did destroy everything with her fire magic. We were pretty desperate. And it's fortunate no one else was around. Yeah, even so, we can't be too cautious going forward. You're still worried about what happened during the incident at the mall? I can't help it. It dug up even worse memories. Now I see. It might not have been the same mall as where you lost your parents, but it may as well have been. Yes, plus it was the biggest incident so far, and we still have 9 more months to go. They really do want to kill me as soon as possible. The boy sat on a swing, the dryad sitting one spot over. We knew this would happen eventually. Yeah, but I honestly used to believe we could keep others out of it. Was it a mistake to stay in the city? Living in fear isn't a good thing, Suvi. Still, better than letting anyone else get hurt. Come sit. I'm all ready. Come on, work here. Now, Suvi. The boy sighed as he stood and did as directed. Good boy. Okay, it's going in a weird direction. The woman wrapped her arms around him, hugging him and pressing her bosom against his back. Just because we hide in the wilderness, there's no guarantee that anyone else won't get involved. Think about how some of the travelers ended up in different cities before they tracked you down. Most people get to live their lives to the end, but we don't know what will happen when you use the Ydin. So it's okay to be selfish. There are too many things beyond our control to account for. It's important to enjoy the here and now. Does that include what you're pressing against me? Okay, we're just gonna pass that up right now. The other students do enjoy taking their leisure to stare at them during class. I'm happy you like them too. Excuse me? So, did she get a job as a teacher? Or another student? What did I miss there? If you know that, why do you let them? I don't see a reason not to, as long as they get their work done. Okay, probably teacher. Oh, are you jealous? Well, maybe a little. Tula tightened her grip on Suvi. Well then, I shall reward you with more skinship for being honest. More skinship. Okay, interesting phrase. Unable to refuse, the boy sat in silent appreciation of the Dryad's presence. Okay. So, I'm going to be honest, that felt like a very different character from the Petula that was earlier in the game. This one seemed, well, okay. The Petula that I was seeing earlier in the game struck me as much more reserved, level-headed, slow to act, but final in her action. This one strikes me as more juvenile, more, how do I put this? More free-spirited, more, I'm doing things because I want to do them. So, I don't know. I feel like I'm looking at two different characters is what this is going to boil down to. Okay. Their choice. The forest was relatively silent, even as Suvi hiked through the brush, phone to her ear as he received instructions. Your proximity is close. She should be within sight. Was this hide and go seek with a robot? Thanks, Essie. You're welcome. The boy hung up the call, reaching the clearing. Estella took a stance with her staff, chanting a spell. Red magical markings appeared in the air around her. Flame wave. Fire flowed out of her staff and drew into a burning wave that consumed the tree she aimed at. Then the attack continued and branched out to several other trees. Meanwhile, the original target crackled and fell over. Most of its trunk turned to charcoal. As this spell ended, the witch took a deep breath before chanting another. Their markings in the air turned blue this time. Water torrent. Water rushed out of her staff and consumed the remaining flames. Finally, Estelle examined the extent of the damage she had caused. So, what's the verdict? Surprised, the witch aimed her weapon at the figure and started a chant before she realized who it was. Suvi, don't sneak up on me like that. Sorry, I got worried about you. You've been sneaking off by yourself a lot lately. What is this, secret training? Yes, how'd you even find me? Next time, turn off your phone. Essie tracked you for me. Listening in on calls, recording my browser history, recording my browser history. Okay. I'm hoping that's indicative of another chapter, because I feel like that's something that's going to lead to a lot of interesting character dynamics. Told her not to do those things anymore. The brunette looked away for a moment before turning back to Suvi. I need to see how much further my magic has progressed. In secret? Yes, well, I wasn't confident in my own estimation. I didn't want to make a fool of myself in front of everyone. The first spell was the same one you used when we first met, wasn't it? What was the outcome? Yes, and that's exactly why I used it. Back then, it barely hurt that orc. Its shield was made of treated wood, and my spell didn't burn through it properly. As for now, well, you can see what it did with your own eyes. The boy nodded as he inspected the damage to the trees. It seems a lot stronger. Good. I guess doing this in public would attract a lot of attention. It was smart of you to come out here. Quite frankly, I don't know if this is far enough for anyone not to notice. Just do it in California. Nobody will notice there. True, but the further out you go, the less likely it is that we can help you if you're in trouble. That I didn't consider. Well, consider it next time, please. I do worry about you. Thank you. Okay. I can't really say anything about that one. It's a natural progression from what I'd already seen. And yeah, that's about it. Okay, and I'm assuming this is the blonde fairy girl that's been, sneaking around. There's a knock at the door. Rala, you sure? I know you're in there. Something moved from under the covers of the bed. I'm coming in, okay? Suvi opened the door and entered the room, looking around. He spotted a mysterious lump under the bed's blankets. Walking to the bedside, Suvi sat on the floor with his back against the bed frame. Comfy. Yeah, that's good. The moments passed in silence. Eventually, Rula cautiously poked his head out from under the covers. Okay. Oh. Okay, so, supposed to be a pixie guy. Alright. Suvi? Yeah? Was it my fault? No, it wasn't. But I could have. It's not your fault. It's mine. None of us could have predicted that some wizard would appear and raise the entire area. It was my fault. He had to attract me somehow. No one else has to take any blame or feel guilt over it. The fairy reached out and patted the boy's head. That sounds unreasonable. Everyone else was there too, helping and fighting. It was only me who could barely stand. I was so scared that I threw up. As the Ydin holder, everything that has and will happen is because of me. I thought I took things on. You might be the target of many, but that doesn't mean you're their cause. Okay. Rolla threw the blanket off himself and stood on top of his bed. Me and the others came here to obtain your power, and the rest came here to destroy it. We knew they'd be coming, though. We could have prepared better. How so? Found a way to control everyone? Laid traps everywhere? It would have been an impossible task, and you know it. Caught off guard by Rolla's frankness, the boy hid his face in his palms. Even so, I didn't want this to happen. I don't think any of us did. Well, Sable might have enjoyed it. She's chaos incarnate, not really a reliable person to test morals against. Oh, I don't know. She seemed like a reasonable person to go and use as a meter stick for. If I agree with her, I should probably rethink my stance. There are still 9 months until the Ydin awakens. There are going to be more conflicts. They'll get bigger and more people will be forcibly involved. I thought you came here to cheer me up, but you're more down than I am. Sorry. No, I appreciate it. The honesty. Ever since I met you, I thought you had everything figured out. But you're confident. You were confident and reliable. Taking your time to tell me your problems and worries, that means something. We can be downers together. The fairy got off his bed and sat next to the boy, close enough to touch shoulders. Thanks. This is nice. Let's stay like this until both of us feel better. Not sure that'll be anytime soon. Then, I guess I'll get a little more time with you than usual. Glancing at Rolla, Suvi saw a bright smile and returned it with a smaller one. Okay. So, yeah, that seems to be all of it. I will, wrap up my thoughts in the next video.